Got it. Woo! Yeah, that's a pretty good one for here.
Wow.
Hey, Elliot here with ePark Fishing. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to catch trout from a creek. We're going to go through 10 tips and techniques that I wish I had known when I started creek fishing, and then I'm going to fish this creek a little bit and see what we can catch. So tip number one is pack light. A lot of the time when you're fishing a small creek, you're going to have to hike in a little ways and you're going to want to be mobile. So you don't want to have too much heavy gear on you. So what I like to do is I like to just keep all my essentials in my fishing vest, and I've got my hemostats, my line cutters, a knife, a net that clips onto my vest, and my rod. And then you're also going to want to keep some clear leader just in case you break off and you need to retie. Another thing you're going to want to bring down is just a small assortment of flies and lures. I would recommend not giving yourself too many options, because then you're just going to wonder if you should try something else and you're going to have a little less confidence. At least that's my experience. Tip number two, you're going to want to bring, oh, you scared me.
Sorry about that.
I've got like a blind corner set up there in the middle of the trail. Well, I'm set up right in the middle of the trail, so people keep scaring me. So tip number two is you're going to want to bring a light or an ultralight rod. So the advantage of using a light rod is that you're going to be able to cast smaller lures, and that's usually what you're going to be using in a creek. It's also going to give you more sensitivity, so you're going to be able to feel those bites a lot better. I also like to use a braid main line. That's because it has zero stretch, so you're going to feel every little bite and nibble. So number three is come prepared. There's nothing more frustrating than when you see a fish and you're not prepared and you have to spend 10 minutes tying and then that fish is gone. So whenever you can, it's better to tie up your rig before you hike down. That way, when you get down to the water, if you see a fish, you'll be ready. So another great way to stay prepared is to keep your leader accessible. So I've got mine right in this pocket and right in this pocket. That way, if I lose my leader, I'm not searching for it. That's another really good reason to have one of these fishing vests, is because that way, if you're balanced on a rock or something, you're not having to go back to a backpack or anything like that. You've got everything right here where you can reach it. Tip number four is choose the right rig. So this is the type of rig I like to use a lot on creeks, and it's just a woolly bugger fly, the smallest one you can get pretty much. And then about a foot below that, two tiny little split shots. So these two little split shots give you a little bit of weight to play with so you can cast better. And it also drops you down into the strike zone. And this particular woolly bugger right here is really good in this area. I don't know about other areas, but this seems to be dynamite here. So if you're fishing slower current or you're trying to get into a pocket or an eddy, I like to use a bubble and a fly. So I have these little tiny adjust-a-bubbles in this pocket right here, and they're only about 1.5 inches long. And that's perfect because it's clear, so the fish can't even see that. In fact, that makes it kind of hard for me to see it sometimes, so I also keep brighter colors as well. So I like the adjust-a-bubble because you can move it up and down the line easily, and you can fill it with a little bit of water. The reason I like to put a little bit of water in these adjust-a-bubbles is so that when the fly goes down, they stand upright a little bit more and I can see the bite better. I also like to put a little water in here because then when the fish grabs it, if it's a really small fish, it's not going to feel the resistance of the float as much, and therefore it's more likely to hold on to the fly and you might have a better chance of landing it. So that leaves us with pretty much every current in between, and I'm going to recommend a spinner for that. So a spinner rig is really easy to tie up, and I just keep a few spinners here in my pocket. So I just keep some classic patterns in here, and I've got a top strike, which is maybe a little too heavy for a small creek, but if it's a larger creek, these work great. And I've got a brown trout rooster tail and a black and yellow panther martin. And this is number 6, and the rooster tail is an 1/8 ounce. And that top strike, that only comes in a 1/4 ounce. So for the spinner rig, you can either tie straight to the spinner, or you can add a small swivel a foot above the line or directly to the spinner to help prevent line twist. But most of the time when you're fishing a small creek like this, You might not need the swivel because you're only going to be running it for a few seconds at a time. Number 5, pick your spots. This is probably the most important aspect of fishing a creek, or maybe fishing in general, is picking the right area where you think fish are holding. Trout like to hold where they can either take cover from predators or there's going to be abundant food. So if you're fishing a creek with a lot of boulders like this one, they like to hang out underneath those boulders where they're out of sight. So a lot of the time I'll try to get my fly right underneath that rock or nearby that rock. So trout also like to hide out in riffles, and that's because all those air bubbles block the view of any aerial predators. Since trout feed on a lot of aquatic insects like nymphs and small fish, they're going to hold where the current is a little bit slower, because that's where insects are going to be able to swim around and won't just get washed away by the current. So you can try fishing pools, pockets, and eddies. And sometimes all three of those things are kind of mixed into one. Number 6, pick the right lure or fly. So if you've ever bought flies, you can see there are hundreds of different options. And I'm going to keep this simple because I only really use 3. So I've got a tiny woolly bugger and a tiny lightning bug and a jig fly. And now I have a fly on my hand that wants to join the party. Thinks those are his buddies. So yeah, these work really great, and especially that purple jig fly seems to always get their attention. I think it's that big silver head on it. They just really think that that's a fly, and so did that guy who just landed on my hand. So I like to use the rule of thumb of bright day, bright fly. So if it's bright and sunny and it's clear water, I'm going to use a bright color, and I'm also going to use a natural color. If it's cloudier, I'm going to use a darker color. And if it's murkier water, I'm going to use a more flashy color like yellow or pink. Number 7, blend in. This one's kind of common sense, but if you're at a small creek with clear water, you're going to want to try to wear natural colors and blend into the scenery as much as you can. It's especially important because in some of these spots where you're going to be standing is going to be only a few feet from the fish that you're trying to catch. Just nothing too crazy. You don't have to fully camo out, but anything to give you a better chance. Another thing is I avoid wading unless I have to. But if I do have to, I'm gonna always cast upstream of where I'm wading, because downstream of where I am, all the debris from my footsteps and all the sound is gonna get washed in that area, and probably those fish are gonna be spooked out. So you wanna work your way upstream if you're wading. All right, so number 8, enjoy the scenery. So one of the best things about fishing these small creeks is the scenery is just amazing and gorgeous. Like where I am right now, take a look at this. I'm out here in Central Oregon, and behind me is a giant 100-foot waterfall. So I would say just don't get too discouraged if you're not catching any fish, and just take a minute to look around and enjoy the fact that you're away from all that stress and you're out in nature, you're getting some fresh air, and that's the most important thing. Another thing I always do is every time I switch spots, I'm gonna check and make sure I didn't leave any trash behind or fishing line or anything like that. If I do see any trash from anyone else, I always try to pick that up as well. And remember, it's called fishing, not catching. So number 9 is use the hockey stick technique. I don't know why it's called that because it looks nothing like a hockey stick, but what you wanna do is when you cast into a small pocket, you hold your rod tip high in the air and keep the line from hitting the faster current so that your lure will stay in that little slow pocket. This works really great for little pools and eddies because you can just hold your bobber or your fly right in that spot without it getting swept away. So even though you can get away with using a shorter rod when you're fishing a small creek, I like to bring this 7-footer because I can reach that rod tip out and control my drift a little bit better. Number 10, adjust your depth. Whatever rig you're using, you're gonna wanna adjust your depth. When I'm using the bobber and a fly, I love using these adjustables because I can slide it up and down, and a lot of the time I'll see fish grab the actual bobber, and when they start popping at the bobber, that's a great time to move your bobber down closer to the fly. Because if your fly is 2 feet down here and they're hitting the bobber, there's a good chance they're never gonna see the fly and they're not gonna get hooked. So you can just move that down so that your fly is only a few inches from the bobber, and the next time they look up at the bobber, they're gonna see the fly and hit that, and you're probably gonna catch the fish. With the drop shot method, it's kind of the opposite. The more distance you have above your weight, the higher up the fly is gonna be. So if you put it up, if you've got 3 feet of water and you put your fly up 3 feet, your fly is gonna be right on the surface. So that can be helpful if the fish are up higher. If the fish are right down at the bottom, you want to move your fly down so it's only a couple inches from the split shot. But you want to be careful to avoid snags, because a lot of these creeks, especially with boulders and a lot of pine trees like this, are going to be full of snags. So that's why I like to leave my split shot about a foot below my flies, and the split shot can slide off of the line, so if they get jammed into a rock, you can pull your line out and you won't lose your fly. All right, so I'm gonna head over here now and fish a little bit. Well, I don't mean to brag, but this is probably the most picturesque setting you could catch a fish. All right, so I've got that little woolly bugger fly and a couple split shot like a foot down. And I'm gonna just cast it right behind this rock where there's a pool. And we'll see if we can get a bite. So I'm just gonna let it dart down there. And I'm just barely twitching it. Just giving it a little action. And I'm feeling the bottom. It's just staying down there. Oh, there it is. Oh, it came off, come on. I lost one of those split shot, but that's probably for the best. There we go, there we go. Stay on, buddy. And he came off. Oh, but I can maybe net him. Where'd he go? Oh, that's all right. Still count it. Yep, I've got a GoPro, kind of to get that angle, like when I'm bringing it in. Oh, I just saw one go for it for a second. You saw it? Oh, almost had it. Yeah, there's one hanging out right there. Oh, there we go, got it. Woo! Yeah, that's a pretty good one for here.
Wow.
Got to get it in the net though.
Okay.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my
That's a pretty big one for this area.
Oh, it's beautiful.
That guy was ready to go. Look at it. Yeah, it's. Yeah. You guys going up to the waterfall?
Yeah.
Nice.
Trying to get as close as we can. Awesome. Well, great to meet you, Elliot.
Yeah, good to meet you.
Probably see you on the way out.
Yeah, see you later. So all you guys fishing, let me know in the comments if you've ever had that happen, where you were fishing and you just caught one right in front of like 3 or 4 people, because that rarely ever happens. Most of the time, you just look like an idiot who doesn't know how to fish, and then as soon as they leave, you catch one. So now, another bonus tip is you want to keep moving, even if you get a couple bites and then it cools off, you can get stuck somewhere. So right here, I'm casting a shadow this way, and that's why I'm hiding in the shade here. So I'm blending in. I'm blending in, man. I'm just gonna drop it right here. Drop it in. See if I can't catch one right under my feet. Oh, it's got it, it's got it, got it. Yeah, oh, that's a brook trout. Got a brookie. Bring him in. So that is a brook trout, going crazy. Got my hemostats right here. I can just get it unhooked really quick. And then I gotta get that out of the water because I'm probably gonna catch another on accident. There it goes. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and don't forget to click subscribe, and I will see you next time.